Oh, it's carnage. It's carnage. It's carnage. It's carnage by nature, carnage by name. Or is it carnage by name, carnage by nature? And it's not really because we haven't got an intro, so I can't do my usual, when I just say something really wise and clever, and then I go off screen, and then Conrad brings me back. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Welcome, people. Welcome, people, to Carnage, which is now officially, exclusively going to be broadcast on my channel. Obviously, loads of people asking why is it not on Trippers anymore? Basically, they're just cutting down on certain shows just for workload purposes. And unfortunately, I'm one of those that they're cutting down on, which is no problem. Which is no problem because we have a platform here that we can utilize. It may be small, but it's growing, and it's growing at an alarming rate. People in the chat already there. Well, we're the big dogs, man. We're the big dogs. Smash the likes. That's what I'm saying. We're the big dogs out there here. Look, can't you see them? Mr. Avi Blue Chips in the building. We got Soccer God, and we got the Scottish Braveheart himself. But he's not so brave because he's wearing like 3 layers. Must be
Yeah.
freezing over there today, isn't it?
No, well, yeah, it's been cold, mate. But I was wearing this. I came in. I was like, I'm quite comfy there now. I'll keep it on. Maybe last half an hour until Avi starts throwing some Andy Robertson hate. Then the body warmer will come off.
Right. Can you explain this to Soccer God?
Jones on
What
the
he means by
show.
that?
Um,
That's a brilliant comment. So Gabbar is Gabbar is a character in one of the most
Surely.
famous movies.
Surely.
Well, yeah, that won't enlighten.
No, I'm telling you,
Evan.
Ivan.
Anyway.
Ivan, the film's called Surely. We'll watch it together when we're
But
together.
that won't enlighten him. I'm enlightening him. So just 30 seconds. Yeah. All right. So Evan, yeah, exactly. Sabr. That's the word, sabr, which means patience. So if you ever hear me say sabr to him, I'm not swearing at him. I'm not cursing him. I'm just saying patience, Avi. Evan, Gabbar was one of the most famous characters in all of Bollywood, iconic characters. And I'm gonna send you his picture of him. And he had the most amazing moustache. He's known for his moustache and sort of macho moustache. So that's actually a compliment. Jones, what's the Jones part about?
Gabbar Jones, maybe he looks maybe Amfield
Jones, is there probably a mixture of someone who's American and Jones? Is there a famous Jones with a moustache? People in the chat, let us know.
Indiana Jones, didn't he have a moustache?
No, Indiana Jones wasn't famous for his moustache, was he?
Is it not MacGyver? No, does he have a moustache? We get mixed up. No, it's Magnum PI's. Magnum PI. Magnum PI's got a moustache, isn't he?
Yeah, Magnum PI has. But what was his name? He was Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. Yeah.
Oh, Ted Lasso. He actually looks like Ted Lasso.
He does look like Ted Lasso. I was going to say that.
Ted.
I went as Ted Lasso for Halloween this year.
And you carried it on.
It looks as if it's a stick-on, though, Ivan. Is that a true moustache? Can you pull it? Can you just show us if you can?
Can you pull it?
Yeah.
Pull it off. No, I'm joking.
One of the Mario and Luigi brothers, but brilliant.
It's real. It's true. But people, welcome to Carnage. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Carnage is officially sponsored by Elite Me. Where they're at, Abby? Where they're at, Abby? Anything CBD, you guys need to go and check these people out. Go and check them out. www.eliteme.com. You know what I mean? Go and check them out. They're our sponsors for the season. Amazing products they do. And you often people hear talk about CBD and they've never tried it themselves. Well, this dog's tried CBD, and I'm telling you, man, I sleep like a baby. Whenever whenever I had a hard, stressful day, like after the West Ham result, for example, Liverpool, after the Brighton result, you take some CBD drops, and yeah, man, you're comatose, man. It's beautiful. It calms you down. It eases all your stresses, and they've got many other products. Have you been using something on your knee and whatnot? Haven't you? You've had what's it called, a balm?
I've got the palm oil, which is a cream, which I use on my knees because I have suffered from like patellar tendons. Just like a very numbing pain. It's very irritating. But I've been using CBD, the bath bombs as well, which are great, relaxing when you're having a bubble bath. I'm not sure if you guys have bubble baths anymore, but I do. And CBD droplets of oil, which I know you use, Grizz, for your sleep, but I use it for, again, pain relief, and it does relax you. And yeah, I sleep.
People want to know, like, Avi's only slight. How's he getting knee pains, and he must carry a lot of weight? I don't know. Evan, did you and Conrad, did you guys see some of his pictures of the food that he was eating at hospitality?
I saw. Yeah.
No. I must stress that was round 3 or 4. So this
Well,
guy, right? So no wonder his poor knees like are stressed out. You know what I mean? It's this guy
Listen,
can
the
eat,
food was
man.
good. So like, I had the peri peri chicken with roasted potatoes. That was followed by the roasted beef sandwich in onion jam, which was that was magnificent. I think Grizz, you even liked that. But I know you couldn't eat it. And then I had the 3-4 helpings of the fruit
So how
crumble.
did I like it? If I
Three,
couldn't
four. No,
eat it,
you
like,
saw that you liked what you saw basically, and then
okay.
3-4 helpings of the fruit crumble, which was absolutely amazing with custard. Oh, warm custard on a winter's night at Anfield. That was just absolutely amazing.
Okay, well, Zeddy Malik says I had a brain hemorrhage and had problems sleeping. CBD has worked better than many meds. So there
Good
you
to
go,
hear.
people.
it's amazing, mate.
Jayton says, "How was Roy Evans? Roy Evans is lovely, an absolute gentleman. And I allowed him to have a picture with me because
I knew you'd say that. I knew
I'm
you'd say that.
I'm just, but I'm a nice bloke, innit? So I said, all right, Roy, go on, son. Let's have a quick one before kickoff. Do you know what I mean? So, but nah, it's all good. We had amazing, wonderful time. Absolutely amazing. There was no pressure, was it, Avi? We start off with last night, Champions League. Bit of a mixture of lineup in terms of youngsters, few squad players, few rested, bits and bobs. Overall, I think you was pretty much happy with the lineup. I thought went slightly stronger than we thought. What did you think?
Yeah, we did a pre-match talk, didn't we, at Anfield, and we said he's gone strong again, which I wasn't surprised at because I know we did a Sunday talk, me, you, Connor, and Keith, and we said that he probably will go strong again. And yeah, he did again. Salah, Mane, Taki, and then the midfield of Morton, Thiago, and Ox. But I thought that midfield was fine. I thought Thiago needs games. Ox is getting into rhythm. I think he played well against Atletico Madrid. Wasn't so great against West Ham, but he played well against Arsenal. And I thought yesterday, again, his defensive work has come leaps on bounds, something that I haven't seen from Ox in a long, long time. So he played well. And then obviously the defense that, he chose Nico, which was great. Trent needed a rest. Simicast started on left back, which we sort of expected. And then Matip, he started instead of Verge, who needed a rest. And then obviously Konate, who needs game time. And then Alisson. I thought Kelleher would have got a appearance. Yes, I thought he would have started, but he went with Alisson and he was captain as well. So it was a nice little token gesture from Klopp, shall we say?
I don't know who I'm going to go to next, but one of the criteria I'm going to use is: was anybody slightly annoyed, or anything out of used to? So you can go next. Whoever. If you wasn't, then Evan, you can go next. Okay, so Evan, well, you were slightly go for it.
Well,
Yeah, that's what we like.
The Alisson thing annoyed me, to be honest,
Okay.
because if I'm Kelleher, Alisson's going to play in hundreds exaggerating, but he's played in lots of Champions League games before. Kelleher's maybe you don't know what's going to happen after Liverpool, and I feel like shout out to Kev O'Sullivan mentioned this. It feels like you need to sometimes keep your second goalkeeper sweet as well. And with two games that are technically, listen, you want to win, but they're dead rubbers for the technicalities of the group. I feel like I don't know why he played Alisson. I still don't know why he played Alisson. The only reason I can think of now is since the game there was a leadership group and Alisson's one of the captains. Robertson, Trent wasn't playing, Henderson wasn't playing, Van Dijk wasn't playing. So the only reason I can think of is because they've voted for those five to be captains that he's put him in because he's one of his captains. That's the only reason I could think of. Barring that, if I'm Kelleher, I'm very annoyed, to be perfectly honest. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. But yeah, I feel like Kelleher came in, being great with his feet against Ajax in the Champions League last year. Still can't work out why he didn't play him. But maybe that's the reason, because of the captaincy.
Evan, any explanations or theories why Alisson started, and your general thoughts on the lineup when you saw it?
Alisson specifically, I'm not too sure. The leadership point sounds about right to me.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I wasn't expecting the overall strength of the lineup. That being said, I thought it was a good hybrid between rotation and just like let's win this game type strength. Yeah, I think we're all just a bit scarred from Midtjylland last season, where Diogo Jota walks off the field. Just it seems like a knock, and then we don't see him play for 4 months. So we're all still, I'm still not over that. I'm still pissed about that. But yeah, I saw people moaning about it. I think Klopp would be the first one to say that there's a value that he places on rhythm. You know what I mean? Like you can't rotate too much because players need to maintain fitness. They need to maintain match sharpness, and it's difficult to place a value on these things because it's not something that we as fans. It's not something tangible to us. You know what I mean? But it's something very real and very tangible to the likes of Klopp and the medical team, and just anybody who works within the club. So I understand the value of you know Matip playing, Ox playing, to an extent, Allison playing. It's not something that I was too overly annoyed about, to be honest. And plus, there's the financial incentive of winning Champions League group games. I think it's before any like incentives from broadcast come in. I'm pretty sure it's a flat 2.5 mil for each victory in the Champions League group stage, and looks like we're probably going to get 6 wins, and that's a decent chunk of change.
Avi, you was going to say something?
No, I think you said yesterday that you would have loved to have seen, considering that he helped us and he was big for us in the last sort of 10 games, that you wanted to see Nat Phillips start yesterday, didn't you? Nat Phillips start or at least come on.
At least I when I saw the lineup, I actually thought him and Matip might play half and half. I was hoping, kind of. It just would have been a. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not one for romanticism and sort of sentiments and all that. I just I want Liverpool to be ruthless and cold and efficient and all that kind of thing. But just sometimes when you're in a situation and you're not often in a situation where it's an absolute dead rubber, where you've gone through, you've won the group, there's absolutely nothing that can alter anything. And then you've got someone like Phillips, who was just an absolute hero for us last season, right? Done everything. We know what he'd done, and came in so useful at the back end of last season. And then he doesn't get his move as well. We want to, Klopp wants to keep him just in case there's any injuries or recurring injuries to the guys that are coming back. I just thought I turned soft for a little while, and I thought maybe he deserves a bit of a run out, but it's okay. The guys, I'm okay with Matip getting some sort of rhythm going. While he's fit, play him. Like we've been saying this for ages, haven't we? Like he's going to break down. He's going to break down. But fingers crossed, touch wood. If you believe in all those kind of omens and everything, he hasn't broken down. And so we crack on. From my personal point of view, Avi, I was very happy to see, or very looking forward to seeing young Tyler Busquets.
By the end of the night, I was calling him Thiago Morton. Ridicule me all you want. I thought he was.
Well, no, I won't ridicule you. I'll let the chat deal with you, as they do. I mean, he plays nothing like Thiago.
I know.
He plays a lot like Busquets. I mean, he doesn't. Obviously, Tyler Busquets is an exaggeration, but Thiago Morton is like.
It's got more. It's got a bit of ring to it, isn't it? Thiago Morton, and especially the relationship that they've had as well over the last few weeks. You've seen a few hugs from Thiago and Tyler Morton, but you know what, Grizz? I've got a habit of bigging up every youngster that comes through our academy, from the Jay Spearings to Adam Hamills from back in the early 2000s to the new boys like Sterling and Jordan Ibe. But Tyler Morton, what a mature performance! 19 years old, playing alongside Ox, Thiago, James Milner, who came on. Imagine that wealth of experience that James Milner brings to the field. And I thought he was really, really good. Just short of sensational. But Anfield night, under the lights, under the fans, in front of the Kop, I thought he put in a very, very mature performance. Some crunching tackles that you noticed in the first sort of 10, 15 minutes. I thought he was really good. And that pass, that second half pass to Salah, he gets it, turns around quickly and pings it 40 to 45 yards.
That's a sign of confidence as well, Avi. I feel like
100%.
the first half, he doesn't do that if he doesn't have such a good game so far. That's definitely this another bow that I can bring to the team. And yeah, and it was actually, when you watch the pass again, Avi, it's not necessarily, it's on, but it's not really on. It's more he's went for it there. He's just, I want to try this, something outside the box. And yeah, I thought it was superb. Brilliant player. Brilliant performance, sorry. I'd say man of the match if Thiago's not on the park, but unfortunately Thiago was.
Avi has got Conroy has got aviitis, where he's gone on to man of the match stuff.
Oh, yes.
Might as well end the show now. Quickest,
Yeah,
That's it.
quickest
it's-
entry
it's-
Khanage,
yeah,
isn't it? Well,
wrap it
well
up.
done,
All
Conroy.
right,
We all
guys,
saw
this is-
his
well done,
goal,
Conroy.
right? We
Well
all
done,
saw his
Conroy.
goal.
Great
Come
show,
on.
yeah.
We saw his goal. Come on.
That's a wrap, lads. Yeah.
You know,
That's
I think
it. We'll see you
Conroy.
later. Good night, guys.
I think,
Cross you
I
off.
think, I think Conroy's definitely got a bit of aviitis. Evan, standouts for you. I genuinely thought it was a very encouraging evening by the end. Started off a bit slow, which we anticipated when you've made so many changes and a young kid in midfield and sort of Tacky playing with the big dogs up front. And they needed a result. They absolutely needed a result. But I just felt comfortable still, regardless of what they needed to do and what situation we were. We were very comfortable. And a lot of that for me comes down to, as these guys have mentioned, a certain midfielder called Thiago, just sort of oozing class throughout the 90 minutes, I thought.
Yeah, I would struggle to find someone who would be worthy of the name standout. I mean, we just talked about Tyler Morton, how well he did, given that it was, one of his first big starts of his career. But Thiago Alcantara, it hasn't really hit me that he's a Liverpool player still after all this time, because certainly in my lifetime, Thiago Alcantara is the highest profile signing we've ever made.
Even just before you, I'll let you. Is that because it's been a stop-start? I'm in the same boat. Maybe it's because I've appreciated him as a Bayern and Barca player, but because he's had a stop-start to his injuries and his COVID, and then
it's a bit of everything. I think the COVID year has the most to do with it. The injury doesn't help. He's playing in these Frankenstein lineups. He spent more time with Sunday Leaguers behind him than he has spent with Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip behind him. So, yeah, it's still something that's yet to fully sink in. But I felt it actually for the first time against Porto. I felt, maybe it's because he's got hair now. Maybe I was just thrown off by that.
Yeah.
But it began to hit me. I was like, holy crap, Thiago Alcantara is one of our best players, and here he is just pulling the strings, prancing around the pitch. It's like I said, it's the highest profile signing we've made during my lifetime, and it's a type of player that I don't think we've really seen, because other midfield legends in recent history for Liverpool are sort of a different mold of midfielder. I'm talking, of course, about Steven Gerrard and the likes of that, but it's been a while since we had a bit of that Spanish fundamentalism with some flair. It takes me back to a bit of Xabi Alonso's days. But yeah, Thiago on the night, incredible, and he's starting to form a significant place for himself in my perception of him as a Liverpool player. So.
I want to read this out. How do I? Anybody know?
Shall I give it a go?
Zisis Kutsumbas?
Absolutely.
No,
I can't.
wrong.
I wouldn't
That's
disagree
totally
with that.
That's
No, I
totally
wouldn't
wrong.
disagree with that. I think that would be spot on.
I was gonna give it a
Zizis
go.
Kutsumbas. No, you stay out of it, because we don't want people unsubscribing. Yeah, we're looking for subscribers, not sort
What
of
a brilliant comment.
That's
though.
actually my mate from
Brilliant
Greece.
comment.
exactly. And this is why I brought it out, because even though I knew it's going to be hard for me to pronounce, I hate.
Hey, I got it right. You guys see that? Check chat.
Spot on, absolutely spot. And I
Call
knew it
somebody
would be,
else.
Evan.
Call somebody
I'm not going to
else,
lie. The moment you said it, even it sounded right. So
Call somebody
Morton's calmness is unbelievable for his age, and he plays in a position where even the best weren't able to play in first team level football before being at least 20 years old. And I think it's an absolute spot on. I know we've gone to Thiago, which is my fault really. I wanted to sort of, and someone said it earlier in the chat, I'm not going to be like Arsenal. They gas up their players after one game. They do, they probably do, but I'd like to think that I'm not one of those. I don't like going overboard very quickly, even though I named him tongue-in-cheek, jokingly, Tyler Busquets. But his calmness, his maturity on that pitch, and do you remember, Avi? There's a number 8 of theirs, who I said was very physical and was very high energetic. Who was it?
Uribe, Colombian
Uribe.
defensive midfielder. Yeah.
Good play.
And he was very physical, very energetic, and was going around the pitch, leaving a few tackles on a few players. But this kid still wasn't overruled, and I thought it was beautiful watching him play. This guy, I'm genuinely excited to see him develop. I see a lot of resemblances through a lot of players that we've all mentioned, but give him some time. Obviously, give him time. 2 years time. Let's see where he's at, because he's got to develop physically as well. That's one thing that obviously comes naturally, and it's gonna. I think he's gonna grow on a lot of our opinions on him. I want to swing back to you, Avi. So that first half, a bit quiet, bit. We were at halftime. We done a bit of a chit chat, and we said, it needs something to excite us, but we didn't know what it was going to be. There was no Arteta to wind us up. There was nothing else to sort of. We had to bring from within, and then Thiago does what he does, like when we saw it. It was further out than it looks on the pitch, doesn't it? On the camera, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looked close. It looked closer when you hear it, and people are going off Twitter or even on the drive home, and I'm thinking, was that goal? Like, it was a great hit, but it was quite close. But then when you showed me it, when I was driving, you just showed me a clip of it. We were at the service station, and I thought that is far out. And the way he's hit, and there's been all sorts of names, but I think McManaman called it a grass cutter. I called it a.
It means a daisy cutter, though.
Daisy cutter, yeah, daisy cutter. Grass
he said
cutter.
grass cutter. It means daisy cutter.
I called it a double conker hit, a swerver. Grizz, you had a few. Grizz was saying it was like a lakeside when he used to throw stones back in the 70s, and they used to go bounce.
I just call it a zing. It's a zing. It just zings it.
I like the American baseball terminology of frozen rope. I like that. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Can I ask, guys?
Yo. What's a frozen rope? Hold on, what's a frozen rope?
Describe it.
It's like when a baseball player, he hits the ball really hard but really low to the ground, and it has like a really consistent velocity.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Frozen rope.
Yeah, you learn new things every day.
That's a new term.
The daisy cutter is the best one because it means basically you've got to have an eye and needle to hit that off a daisy. It's, but can I just add, Grizz, before we get into this? I think I don't know if you have got enough time to talk about this, but Mane's offside goal also comes through a Thiago through ball as well. And Porto miss, we do get away one because Porto miss an absolute open goal that I think because maybe we're forgetting about that, because I actually thought we got away with one massively there. Because as Avi will be loving it, Diaz, I think, hid our defence a few times in the first half.
Yeah, no, we're going to touch upon sort of impressive plays from their side. You're right, but you're right. We did forget the Mane, but that's just it was a beautiful pass from Thiago and such a Mane finish, isn't it? That's when Mane is fully confident and in form, when he does that finish. That's his trademark finish for me. But we couldn't believe it was offside.
I still don't know if it is, Grizz, mate. I've looked at it 4 times, mate. I'm not sure. And I'll stick up for VAR, but I'm not sure.
There was a decision last season where Greenwood's goal was given, and he was that offside call should have been given offside because it was clear offside, but because it was daylight, and this was last year in the Champions League, they gave that goal. But if you're giving this one off, I don't know. And he's had it tough because remember the Everton goal as well. It was because of that last season, that 3-2 when Thiago gets injured. It was like, how can you call that offside? Where's the daylight? We get this told that there's daylight between the forwards and the defenders.
It's not daylight.
No, it's not
in
daylight.
The Premier League now. It's like the 10.
That's not the rule.
The lines are bigger now in the Premier League, but I don't know if the comments know, but I've completely forgot if the Champions League's lines have changed. They should.
No, they used to say there should be clear daylight between the offside trap and the forward.
No. That's never, daylight rule never came in. You've just made that up.
They've made the lines. They made the lines bigger in the Premier League.
But we don't know if they've used the same principle and the same technique in the Champions League. If anybody knows that, that's worth more Googling, Avi. Daylight was 1960s, 70s rule. Forget about that. We have a competition for even we've got worm burner here in Australia.
Ooh, I like that.
You like that one, yeah?
I like that one.
Yeah, we get that's self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
That's like the daisy.
Some have said the Dusra Grizz. The Dusra. That's not a bad shout. The Indian version for the shot of Thiago's.
The Pebble Skimmer. The Pebble Skimmer, I like that one as well.
Dusra is fine.
I don't
Flipper?
get the Dusra at all. I have
Flipper?
no idea where you're going with this.
Googly?
Is that
Where are you going with that? With cricket
what's the
terms? How's it?
He's just saying words. He's not.
He's just saying what he does this, Seven.
Is that when the bowl is a doosra? Is that when they spin it a certain way? That's quite cool though. I always think bowlers in cricket how they can get that spin, because there's that player who can like take his wrist out. I know we're going off a bit, and he can spin it. I've always found that to be unbelievable. That's so cool.
No, but Conroy, and you've nailed it. What it is, right? So it's basically what Avi's describing, right? Is basically it's an unorthodox ball. So what the batsman, what the opponent expects. Right, you use the same action, you do, you same run up, same action, but the ball spins or turns in the opposite direction.
That's cool.
Now, what has that got to do? Can someone explain to me what is that? How is that relevant to Thiago's shot, like in any way, shape, or form? Before I get done for bullying,
I just like saying stupid words.
Yeah. But we need to chat about that cricket throw, because see that bowl, that is so cool. That is one of the. I find that I never really watch cricket, but I'm going to.
What does he know about cricket?
That's
What
fascinating.
does a Scotsman know about cricket? Please,
mate, nothing, mate. Nothing,
on the conversation.
I need to be educated. I'm asking you to educate me.
Yeah, but exactly, you're supposed to educate people. Now, I tell you what, it could be a cricket comparison could be used is when the fielders go for a run out. Now, I don't know what's the term for baseball when you're trying to run someone out, like
stump.
When you get
pitch.
Is it pitch?
Yeah, when you're trying to run around to do the home run, but you stop because.
So basically, Evan, basically, like baseball when they catch the ball and they whip the ball in, like.
You're trying to just get someone out, like at first.
Yeah.
Just getting someone.
One of those ones. That's similar to cricket when they try and hit the stumps and they try, and obviously the lower the trajectory the ball flies at.
Yeah.
The quicker it reaches its destination.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's physics, if that's correct physics wise.
I think
it looks cool, Grizz. Just go with it. It looks cool and it sounds
great,
mate. Go with it.
But anyway, we digress.
Love that.
Who wants to talk about the Thiago goal, man? I mean, I just wanted to say one thing. Is there even a way of scoring like that in any of these FIFA games and everything? Because I don't know if there's a skill that does that even on a FIFA game or PS3 or PES Pro Evolution. Is there something that does that?
No, because you wouldn't hit the ball into the ground. If you half volleyed it, would go high. It would never go back into the ground.
I don't think FIFA's physics system is advanced to hit the ball into the ground and have it like you just said, and have it bounce up gently. Yeah. Their physics isn't at that level yet. So Thiago is literally doing things you can't do in a video game.
My man Itza has smashed it. It's, how about cricket term, slider. It's the slider. That's
These
the good
terms
one.
are on fire tonight.
Absolutely. There's more. I was busy trying to explain it. There's more. I missed a few more. You should have pulled them up.
50 comments there. That's great.
But it's a stunning goal, Conroy. It's a stunning goal. It's something that we've been waiting for, dreaming about, as Evan says. As soon as Thiago was linked with us, we dreamed of the time he scores one of these and runs into the cop or towards the cop, and then we finally can say he's arrived, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You want to take this, Evan? You take it, mate.
Go on.
No, I was. I think you and Avi were talking about in real time. Maybe you didn't realize how far out he is. He's in the 30 to 35 yard range comfortably,
easily.
I didn't realize it in normal time because it all happens so fast. But yeah, when I went back and watched the highlights after the game, yeah, he's deep. He's in Gerrard territory. He's in Risa territory. He's out there. And the technique is just so, oh man, it's just so difficult. It's just so difficult, and he makes it look so easy. Over here in the States, on NBC Sports, we have Lee Dixon as one of the color commentators. I've mixed feelings about Lee Dixon as a color commentator. But first time on Thiago's debut last season, he described Thiago as it's like he has hands on his feet. And that's how he scoops and hits the ball in all these weird, unique ways. And the more is as passionately as I hate Lee Dixon as a commentator, I think he was spot on with that. Because I just feel like Thiago can just like angle his feet and create angles in which to hit the ball that other players can't or just can't do to the same level. It was incredible.
In other sports, guys, right? You compare him to sort of, for example, I don't know if you guys are snooker fans, like sort of Ronnie O'Sullivan in terms of how he can manipulate, right? Or I don't know, help me out here.
John Parrott, he was good. He was Scottish as well, John Parrott.
Okay, John Parrott was Scouse.
Oh, was he?
He was English. And he was the most boring snooker player. We're talking about wizardry, and people have got X factor about them, right?
Well, Stephen Hendry's the biggest Scottish one for that because he won like 8.
Yeah, but he was boring, you're right? He was boring.
But
I'm talking about in cricket wise, you'd talk about Wazim Akram, who had the ability to do so many different things with
Malinga Grizz.
Yeah, Malinga would be a good shout. Other sports, name some Mavericks. He's a Maverick.
Schumacher. Formula 1.
Schumacher.
He was a Maverick. Could do it in any conditions: rain, sleet, snow, sun. Brilliant.
I don't know if a guy driving a fast car is comparable to
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods is a shout.
Tiger Woods was the first person I thought of because
Steph, probably in recent times NBA Steph Curry because of 3 points. He's amazing.
100%. It's just Thiago can like put certain like trajectories.
Oh, another amazing shout! Amazing. Sorry, Evan. Another amazing shout. Yeah, Alex Higgins. People are saying that. Yeah, people are giving Senna.
Peter Repton.
What happened?
Do you know?
Mad show. The one by Anfield Road End. Someone said Peter Repton.
Bring up. Gaza. Gaza was a great shout. But I'm talking about other sports. Do you know what I mean, guys? When someone who's just makes everything look so pleasing to the eye.
Dennis Rodman. I was going to say that. Dennis Rodman. I don't know if it's a similar type of player, but he is a proper maverick. If you talk about for Dennis Rodman to be in the Chicago Bulls, right? That's kind of unheard of when you think about. You've got Jordans and who's like just the mentality monster. I thought that was a good shout. You might not agree though.
Yeah, people are coming out with mad shouts now that probably a lot of viewers and listeners. Terry Griffiths was the most boringest snooker player ever sort of created, born. But yeah, there's some good shouts in there as well. And Ben Stokes, the cricket player for England.
I think Kevin Peterson's a good shout, Grizz.
Probably the best shout of your night. Yeah, well done. That you should retire.
Probably. I'll retire. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Because you won't make a better point. I know that for a fact. With Jimmy White, absolutely. Jimmy White but Jimmy White's not as good example as
Rocket Ronnie.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, we've described his maverick, but the professionalism of him, guys, is impeccable as well, right, Conroy? Because he's not only got the skills and the flair and to do things sort of. He's got the professionalism to keep himself, the perfect image, never in trouble, never hear him on social media, a guide for the youngsters. And Avi's made a very good point, on how Tyler Morton sort of felt and looked up at him and playing alongside one of the greatest footballers of our era.
Yeah, I think like his technique, obviously, that's not luck. That's no natural talent. I don't care what anyone says. Like, for him to be that good at the passing range he's got, is because he's worked for that and he's obviously analysed his football intelligence. I think can I just quickly on the goal?
Yeah.
To me, right, I know it's harder than a pass, but that's because how good he is at passing and hitting a ball in certain areas, because it's like a pass. And the reason I mean that is obviously he's shooting, but it's like I think if he hits that on a half volley, right, in the corner without that movement or that pace off the ground, their keeper's not great, but I don't think it goes in. Like, I genuinely believe the way he's hit that, the only way that goes in is with the way the trajectory of the ball is. And because what I mean like that is you might have like a Fajera could smack it top corner there, but it's not like that. It's the placement more than... It is quite powerful, but it's not like a rocket. It's just the way he's hit it. And I just think if you could describe Thiago's ability in one clip, that's it. Because it is far out. I realised straight away it's so far out. And I was like, did that go in? Because sometimes when you're watching the game, I know you use it again, but if you're watching on TV, like, sometimes you just know if someone shoots from there, the best you're getting is the keeper saving it for a corner, build the momentum, but it goes in, and I'm in disbelief. And if that sums up his technique, that sums up for me. He's just a wizard technically, but hopefully he can kick on now, guys. Because I don't want it to be we're talking about his high moments in between turmoil, because it's still been about a 6.5 times out of 10 since he's been here because of the stop and start. So I don't want this to be a bittersweet moment. I really want him to kick on and stay fit, because he can be huge for us. He's a game changer. So hopefully that's the case.
Let's address the elephant in the room one by one. Just very quick answer. Was it better than Stevie G's goal? Avi, you go first.
In terms of the importance of the game, that goal.
No.
In terms of the technique,
just was it a better goal? Avi, we need to answer now. It's not competition. There's absolutely no prizes for it.
It's hard because Gerrard's probably my favorite Liverpool player, but I think Thiago's just the way he caresses and he hits it. Yeah, I would say Thiago.
But it's okay. You can just go, Thiago's is better than that, but it's not better than the one at West Ham, which was 40 yards out. So there you go. That's the best goal I've ever seen, or one of the best goals. So
for me, it's not better than the Olympiacos goal, because the ball is coming to Gerrard way faster. It's the same half volley technique, but it's coming to him way faster at an angle, taking nothing away from Thiago's technique. That ball's coming to him much friendlier, much slower. He can time to position his hips. Gerrard does it in a flash. It's coming to him quickly.
The chat's very mixed.
I think the importance,
occasion. Some people get stuck because of the occasion as well.
Yeah. That's me. I know you just want to taking occasion. I'm taking occasion, sentiment, nostalgia out of it. The technique from Gerrard, it's coming to him way less friendlier than it came to Thiago.
I've seen Gerrard do that a few times, though. That's why I'd say Thiago's more impressive, because I've not seen Thiago do that before. I'd seen Gerrard do that a few times before.
I think it's easier on that sort of bounce when it fell for Gerrard that he could hit it, whereas Thiago sort of moved slightly and then sort of the way he just sort of goes across it. I think that's harder on a technical level.
I probably shouldn't use it against him, one of my favourite players, because he'd done it more often. But I just think maybe we're normalising how good Gerrard was at those things, but I just think because it's so far out, that's the reason I'm saying it's better, because both amazing goals, though.
The Thiago one is really crazy, because how often is a ball rising into the bottom corner? Think about how mental that is. Like, I
can't work it out.
How does the ball rise? It's crazy physics, right? Like, how does the ball rise into the bottom corner? It's unstoppable. Crazy.
Yeah, for me, again, like, Steven Gerrard is my favorite player, but I'm okay. I'm rational enough to separate those two emotions and everything and say Thiago's goal was better. I think more difficult, I'd say, technically. But listen,
Gerrard's got about 5 more that were better dressed.
Exactly. But did you guys see Thiago's interview when he was asked, "Have you scored a better goal than that?" He said, "Yeah."
Yeah, I disagree. I've watched all his goals. That's a lie. He might have done it in training, but for me, that's the best goal he scored.
And then we wrapped the game up fairly comfortably with another brilliant goal. Even if you want to talk through the second goal, Tyler Morton starts it off, and then a bit of interplay. This guy is truly. I say every week. It seems he's playing Ballon d'Or football every week, right?
Yeah. Speaking of things we might be getting desensitized to, Mo Salah has just scored another incredible goal, and it's the second talking point in our video, or third or fourth talking point of the game. I'm thoroughly desensitized to how good this guy is. I think we might be watching his best Liverpool campaign as a player. I think this is the most complete version of him we've seen. Said this on a previous show as well. It's weird because largely it wasn't a good game for him. That Zanussi guy at left back, I thought did really well against our entire right side, midfield and Nico Williams included. But all it takes is one moment, and he sends the defender for a early bath and just puts it in the bottom corner. I am thoroughly desensitized to how good he is.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. You're right.
Yeah, that's all I can say about it. It's expected. This could be his best ever campaign as a Liverpool player, and I'm happy to be here for it.
That's the game done and dusted with the Porto game. But very quickly, Avi, of course, we can't move on from the Porto game without you having a saying on a certain someone and how you thought he performed, and you was taking You was taking a lot of pictures, but I won't reveal to. Oh, I just revealed to everyone that you was taking a lot of pictures of Luis Diaz on your phone. But how did you think he performed? Mixed reaction from some fans. Some said he's not all that. Some said, oh, he was most impressive player for them. Some could envision him playing with better players around him. Some said he flattered deceive. Where was you? We know what you think of him, but how do you think he done and fared?
I thought first half he was really impressive, Grizz. I thought that one decision when he passes it to Ivan Nilsson, I thought he should have taken the shot on because he was clear and he's got that burst of pace. His touch was good, the 1-2s. He roasted Nico a few times, a couple of times. I thought his decision making was fine. It's just about getting the ball to him, and unfortunately, Porto aren't at that level of Liverpool. What he's doing in the Portuguese league and what he's done with Colombia this year, it's slightly different when it comes to the Champions League. But look, I thought he was the best of a poor bunch at Porto. I thought he was the only one who was causing some kind of trouble. I saw some absurd tweets and amazingly sort of like writing him off. He's 24 years old, guys. And I'm sure if he was under Klopp, he would be a star player, and Mane is not getting any younger. He's going to be 30 next year. This player, he could be absolutely sensational in our system. His work rate, his technique, his directness, the way you can, just take the ball. And there was a run in the second half. And I said to Grizz, Grizz, look, he's battling through some tough challenges and he made headways. He picks up the ball from his own half, from his own goalkeeper's half, and he just runs with it. And he was beating 3-4 players, and then he got brought down. And like Curtis J said, he was the most dangerous, and he was. And it'll be interesting to see how his campaign goes from here. I think it'll go strength to strength. I think he'll hit double figures. He's already got 11. I think he'll get into the 20s. And it'll be interesting to see whether there is a big summer move from him. I'm sure there is. I know Newcastle are lurking, but it depends. I think he's got a much bigger scale than a Newcastle United. I think he can play for a top 4, to be honest.
Kevin says you seriously want to pay the 70 million release cost. I don't think anyone is suggesting he's worth 70 million, Kevin. We're just basing him on his sort of ability at the moment as opposed to his value. Conroy, what did you think of him now that you've seen him a couple of times or whatever? How many times you've seen him?
Yeah, I was impressed with him in the summer. Before I met Avi, I watched him on the watch along at the Copa America, and in that I said he'd obviously mentioned Diaz he finished just behind Messi for top scorer, or did Diaz get top scorer? He had a good tournament anyway, and I actually thought
joint scorer.
Joint, yeah. I don't understand the negative. I thought he was really good. Like, I think he left a few people. I know he done it to Nico, and he left a few players, I think, if I'm remembering rightly, like they weren't there. And it's like, as much as we're saying, but this is elite football, and to do that, I still think it was good. I thought like Porto's general team decision making was poor in the final third, but to put that all on him, I think is not in my opinion. That's not correct. I think what I don't get is like we keep seeing these big numbers, but to me, if you can get him like a Mane signing, a Jota signing, and maybe we can't anymore. Maybe that's why people are a bit negative towards it. But I feel like if you can get him for that, he would suit in our system perfectly. Like we have to remember that there's a difference when he plays for a certain team. Like, look at Jota. This has got to be the benchmark. Jota for Wolves, we're all like humming and hawing. Humming and hawing is a Scottish phrase. It just means like moaning about.
Thanks for clearing that up, because I was getting slightly worried what that meant.
Yeah, then he comes in and it shows you what happened. There's a reason we're linked with these type of players. Now, I do agree, if it's 60, 70, right, there's better players like Rafinha out there. It's worth if we're ever going to pay that. But I'm impressed. I don't understand. The comments are so mixed, and that's what's... I don't know how one player can have terrible, average, overrated, and also some people think he's quality if we're all watching the same game.
Conroy, it's football.
There was mixed reactions when Salah was coming from Roma. Oh, a Premiership flop. Amongst their own fan base. There were mixed reactions. Oh, Mane coming from Southampton. How's he going to replicate? He's not even been that consistently great for Southampton, but how's he going to replicate that form? It's all bollocks, let me tell you. Diaz is a player in there. He's had a great Copa America, and this season he started on fire. I'm sorry, but
it's not bollocks. I would never.
I just don't disagree.
One thing we shouldn't do is call people's opinions bollocks on this show. So let's refrain from, because it's opinions. It varies. People have their opinions. It's not frustrating. Some people rate certain players, some people don't. And then when you're proved right or wrong, then you can sort of glorify in your opinion, like you did today about sort of Ralf Rangnick, for example. You actually made a very good shout last weekend. Said he should be the interim. And so, but we'll touch upon that. So yeah, look, frustration. People's opinions is part and parcel of it. You have differing opinions.
But
Evan,
it's
just
always
a
the
quick
case,
say-
Grizz, isn't it? It's always
Of course it is.
every
Yeah,
signing
yeah.
we get it, to be fair. But I
Of
just
course.
I thought they missed a big chance and the game changes, and then we forget that when we win 2-0. That's always meaning we forget that sometimes.
Absolutely, Evan. Quick opinion on Luis Diaz. Not necessarily based on this game, but overall, what you think of him, just because it's topical.
If this Luis Diaz guy was playing yesterday, I didn't realize it. I'm kidding. I'm just saying that to mess with Evan.
Avi's like,
Avi has left his
Avi
stream.
was sitting there like about
Even-
to
even-
explode.
The table's moving.
Evan knows he will get away with it because he's from the same state as me, so it's fine.
Hey, but listen, I'm not really too fussed about his profile. 24-year-old guy still playing in the Portuguese league. Some people might raise their eyebrows at that and moan about that. I've learned not to during the Klopp era. I didn't think Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah were good enough for Liverpool even back then, and look how that turned out. I have so much faith in our recruitment and just the players that we identify.
Yep.
So if Luis Diaz is one of those players that we're looking at, more power to us and more power to him. However, if that release clause is a real thing, then absolutely not. I just think there's far superior players who are younger that would perhaps even fit us better and have an easier time adapting to the Premier League. But just him as a player, yeah, I'm on board. Why not?
Yeah, no, I was impressed. I'm not going to lie. He's grown on me. I watched him very closely in the Copa America, and we've spoken enough about him now. So we'll move on. Selection with the super chat says Avi fam. So he's given away that he's part of your family, which I suspected.
Where's your phone, Avi? Where's your phone? Is
Exactly.
that the burner account?
Exactly. How are you feeling about Danjuma and Rafinha? Those are two players we watch. According to Fab, personally, I want to go younger.
Yeah, Danjuma, he's surprised a lot of people this season. I know he's gone from Bournemouth to Villarreal. He's had a good start. He's in the Dutch setup as well now. He's got great close control. I mean, amazing close control. It reminds me of a young sort of Depay when Depay was PSV. A lot of skill, a lot of close control. And Rafinha, yeah, look, I think Rafinha at 23, 24, I think he's ready for that big move as well. I do like Rafinha. I do like the look of Rafinha as well, but just depends whether Leeds are prepared to play ball with us. Another 50, 60 million pound signing.
So yeah, look, that wraps up sort of a fairly relaxed post-match reaction, because it was a fairly relaxed situation, fairly relaxed match, fairly relaxed scenario for us. So I thought we didn't need to go too intense on that. But this weekend totally changes, right, Conroy? Because we've said it before. It's the bread and butter. It's where the party's at, man. This is one hell of
West Ham away. It's the West Ham away for you guys.
I tell you what it is, Conroy. I tell you what it is. This is giving me Brighton at home vibes, and the reason for that is because we came off Madrid, wasn't it?
3-2. Yeah, 3-2. I think Madrid.
We came off the Atletico Madrid performance. Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff. So we thought to ourselves, the atmosphere is going to be up for it. The crowd's going to be up for it. It's a bog standard Saturday, 3 p.m. We just need to get the job done. But we had this nagging feeling in the back of our heads, like they're a well-coached team. They can pull off the odd result. Of course, Brighton are a far better team than Southampton.
Yeah.
We should have nothing to worry about. Conroy, tell me otherwise.
No, I do agree, Grizz, but we spoke about it many times on your channel this year, especially. We actually get in good positions in these games, and sometimes we let it slip. And I would say there's a slight difference, because I think I'm not going to go on the Potter ball agenda I have, but they're very well coached, Brighton, and they're very, by their philosophy, they'll keep playing, and they were very brave against us. I would maybe add that even though Brighton hadn't won before that, they were in quite a good run, and Bissouma came back into the team, and he's kind of been the common denominator for them for their winning start as well, because they got a lot of draws after that. I've looked at the Southampton game before we came on today, and as much as obviously they've got a guy who plays for Scotland in there, the Che Adams, who's actually been in quite good form. As you know, I'd bring that up, Grizz. However, I do feel that it's one of them. It's like they've got areas that they could hurt us, but I just think we've got obviously a much better team, and I'm hoping what we've learned that they shouldn't cause as much problems as Brighton, and we should be able to control this one. I would just maybe add though that shout out to I know Avi wants to talk about the centre back, but I would say Livramento has been quite impressive when I've watched him, and he's a Chelsea loanee along with is it Broha or Borja? What's his name?
Armando Borja. Yeah,
he's came on and scored as well for them recently, so he looked quite impressive. And they've got obviously Adams and Adam Armstrong, who signed from Blackburn last year, and he's actually done okay to start with. But I just think the comments here not taken too lightly. I do agree, but every team in the Premier League can hurt you. Every team's got a good player. You've got Ward-Prowse and set pieces. That's the one thing I would add about Southampton, because for me he's the best free kick taker in the league. He's the top one for me, and it's just there's areas to watch out for, but I do think it's a different kettle of fish. There's a phrase for you compared to Brighton. I think lessons learned, the way we're playing, I think we'll have too much. So there's a few areas of concern, but overall quite happy going into this one.
Evan, you the same? You feeling confident about this game, despite it being back of a Champions League week? They've had a full week to prepare, but we just literally, like it's literal. We literally can't afford to drop any points because the margin of error is such in the Premier League, with City and Chelsea setting such a pace. I personally believe anything less than 3 points is an absolute disaster. And I'm telling you guys now, if we fall 7 points behind this Chelsea or 7 points behind this City, we won't be catching them. But we should be. This should be a routine win for us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't rate Southampton at all. If I'm being completely honest, I don't care what their form says. I just don't rate their chances against a full strength Liverpool side. And no game in the Premier League is an easy game. That's not what I'm saying. But in the context of the Premier League, this is one of the easier games, and this is one that we should be winning comfortably. We absolutely cannot afford to drop any more points, especially when the times that we've chosen to drop points this season so far have been when the other title rivals, at least one of them, has dropped points as well. So the timing has already been extremely unfortunate. And yeah, if we fall 2 full wins behind Chelsea, 6 or 7 points, I would find it difficult for us to make up that ground. And even though apparently Ben Chilwell is out for the season, even then they could have multiple players injured, and I don't think we would catch them, just because I think they're that solid as a unit. So yeah, absolutely, every single game is do or die. It's bad for my health, but it's the nature of the game.
It's the nature of the beast this season, isn't it, Avi? And this time round, we go first in terms of we play first. Saturday 3 p.m. and then the other two, I believe, both play on a Sunday. So it's imperative. It's absolutely imperative that we at least go 1 point behind going into their games, and they feel us on the back of their neck, that we're thereabouts. Again, absolutely no issues, right, Avi?
There shouldn't be, but I just before the show was at 10, I watched a few I saw the last game against Norwich. I thought they were really poor. They were really poor, but they have got players that can hurt us. Armando Borja, I think he might have a niggling injury, but he could be fit. We've got the Livramento, who I think it's a permanent deal, Conroy, with the buyback. But he's an absolute.
There's always some way Chelsea can get a player back.
Yeah. And obviously James Ward-Prowse, who I've always been a big fan of, his work rate, his technique, free kicks, corners. I think he's a super player. And then obviously they've got this good youngster in Salisu centre back. So they have got players that Hassan Hutel is a good coach. He coaches his teams well, and they did beat us last season at their ground. They beat us at St Mary's 1-0, and I know we were going through a rough patch, but their teams do play football, and they made it hard for us at Anfield last season as well before we made the breakthrough. So we've got to win, Grizz. We have to win. Chelsea play United this Sunday. Hopefully, United are on that some kind of bounce back positivity. Hopefully, they can get a draw or a win even.
Bounce back, lads. Bounce back positivity. Have any of you heard of that phrase?
No,
Yeah,
I'm sure
new manager bounce, isn't it? But
Yeah, it's new manager bounce, but have you decided to call it bounce back?
Well, he's not going to be in
positivity?
charge, is he? He's
Brilliant.
first.
No, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love
Yeah.
you. I love you. I love you. Carry on.
Bounce
Bounce back positivity.
But no, look, it'll be a good game. Hassan Hotel, he's again, their team's full of passion. Full of pressing. And I think they're missing Danny Ings. I don't think Adam Armstrong, another player who was brilliant alongside Harvey Elliott at Blackburn last season, hasn't hit the ground running in the Premierships, finding a different sort of kettle of fish.
I think he's been quite unlucky though. I'm not saying I think he's going to take a year, but he has been unlucky because there's been a few good chances where he's not been poor or he's not hid. So we'll see. I get what you're saying, mate. I feel like he might be a Premier League striker though, maybe with that experience. We'll see.
And then,
but they've got Che Adams, who's their number one striker, and I think he's fully fit back. And
he tends to play just behind him, Grizz, just so it's like a kind of 4-4-2 with him dropping in behind to link
up.
But
I tell you who they've played recently before he got injured, and I think he may be back for us, is Nathan Redmond. They've been playing him in that kind of role as well, and they've been experimenting with Walcott there sometimes as well. So they've got a few options to sort of throw in there. Again, I'll reiterate what you guys have said. Nothing that should worry us. I mean, Che Adams is a very physical player, but we've got probably the two best centre-backs to deal with that, along with possibly Chelsea's centre-backs in terms of anything physical. Pace-wise, Che Adams isn't lightning, so that should be covered as well. They've got a couple of handy wingers. I rate Djenepo. He's very infuriating, but I think he's got...
You've liked him for a couple of years now, though, haven't you? Djenepo.
He's a maverick. He's
an absolute maverick, but he's one of those players, Conroy, that the moment I set eyes on him, it's just the fact that sort of, Southampton have got a knack of finding a gem through their recruitment.
Diamond in the rough, they're very good at that.
Yeah, so they're very good at that. And this guy, I saw him a couple of times and I thought to myself, he's got something about him that could be coached to a higher level.
His goal against Sheffield United, I think, last season was unbelievable. But I think it was against Brighton. He scored a similar goal as well. I think he when he's on it, he reminds me, Mane was much more consistent at Southampton, but Mane was inconsistent sometimes. I agree. I think he's one of them. Like, if you want a cheap option or maybe to get into the squad, you feel like someone like Klopp or another top manager could get the best out of him, because when he's on it, I don't know. I think sometimes you look at players like that.
I think he's shy.
Avi, you just said, right, we can't always judge that because there is certain players who's like...
He's never shown me anything, Conroy. A few glimpses of flash in the pan for me.
He's maybe just too inconsistent. He'd maybe just you pull your hair out before you got...
maybe I'm being harsh, but at 23, he needs to show... You compare him to someone like Ismail Assar, who's doing so well at Watford, and he's 21, 22, he's got 7-8 goals already this season. And then Djenepo,
Sarr's valued at like 50 million, though, isn't he? So when I look at Sarr, I think he's not worth that in any market. He's never going to give you the same output for me. So I'd put Djenepo lower down in the pecking order for me. But listen, I get what you're saying. There's always a player like that in the Premier League. There's one team who you don't support here, like you like that player, and he's definitely a maverick, though, Grizz. That's one thing I would say.
Yeah, he is
an unbelievable goal, and then not have the ball for it.
I hope he doesn't show anything, and I hope we get the Djenepo if he plays the Avi's describing, and not the one that me and you've described, who's the second coming of Ronaldinho. But look, we move on. We move on. Evan, from our point of view, so Jota rested, Virgil rested, Trent rested, Robertson we'll discuss. Hendo rested. Have I missed anyone else, guys? That's 5 players I've mentioned that probably come back into the team. Forgot anyone else?
Naby's back.
Okay, you're not even listening to what I'm talking about. So you stay on your phone.
Players. I'm right.
Just mute him, guys. Let me mute him. He's not even listening. He's just butting while we're having.
I'm writing my first 11 till Saturday. Okay, go.
We've asked who comes back into the team on weekend, and you've just said Naby. Like, he hasn't even trained all week, but you've just said Naby comes back into. So we're talking about the players that are bona fide coming back into the team, Evan. So let's get back to the conversation me and Evan were having. Virgil van Dijk comes back straight back in. Trent comes straight back in. Jota comes straight back in. 2 up for debate, Evan. And I want to put it to you. 2 up for debate. Henderson and Robertson. Talk to me. What'd you do?
I bring both of them back in.
Okay.
I mean the Robertson one is a little more up for debate because he's coming back from an injury, and we have an able deputy, whereas our hand might be forced by a lack of fit and ready midfield options. Henderson might end up being a necessity. Robertson might end up being a luxury for the weekend.
Omar. Sorry, Evan. Of course, Fabinho as well. Come straight back in. He's not up for debate. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. The Tsimikas Robertson debate is funny. It's a funny thing. I hope we can all keep our feet on the ground when it comes to Kostas Tsimikas, because it is very early on, and I wish nothing for the best. And I love to have these oh no, my diamond shoes are laced too tight sort of problems. You know what I mean? That's okay. I hope we have more of those problems. But for me, I just think, just in the interest of rotation, keeping people fresh and protecting our assets, I think both players should come back in. Rodney's pointing out that Henderson was injured too. That's fair, but with our midfield, a lot of people are injured, whereas Robertson and Tsimikas, you could go either way. So Henderson might end up being a necessity, is what I was trying to say. But that's up for debate as well. That's what I would do, though.
Exactly. It's a huge debate. It's a brilliant debate. It's some people get passionate about this kind of debate, Avi. I think, as we said, the rest of the team pretty much picks itself. I think, and we even said it straight away, when we saw the substitutions Klopp made, sort of taking off Thiago, was it around the 60th minute, guys, 65th minute, something like that? So we knew that makes sense because he's a definite starter for Saturday. Henderson being only given a few minutes, so we weren't sure what that means because Ox played quite a bit. So there's a bit of a debate around Henderson, Ox. Fabinho and Thiago are definites, right? So there's a bit of a debate between Hendo and Ox, and of course Tsimikas, Robertson, who, before Conroy says anything, Robertson was like a man possessed. Robertson was like a player that knows he's got an able deputy watching over him. I thought Robertson was amazing for the little cameo that he played. But I also think Tsimikas' delivery, I watched his delivery right up and close. We were just, when he was taking those corners, wasn't he, Avi? We were right over him. Stunning delivery on Tsimikas, stunning delivery. But give me your opinions on those two selection headaches that Klopp may have.
See, it's not a headache for me. I thought Ox and, if you go back to the Arsenal game, I thought Ox and Tsimikas did really well. And look, I love Robertson, and I thought yesterday he's had a jolt, hasn't he? Like I thought he was really good when he came, when he was more direct, running with the ball, a little bit more aggressive as well in the tackle. But Tsimikas needs to, I think you should start him. You start the players on form. Ox right now, he's on form. His work rate yesterday and Arsenal, that's 2 back-to-back games in 3-4 days. Klopp might think that's too much. He might not be able to handle a game 3 p.m. on Saturday. But you've got to play Ox. The players on form. I'm sorry, but Ox is a player, like we've mentioned before, when he's got the two behind him, especially Fabinho and Thiago, you've got to play Ox. Like that's where you'll see Ox shine. He's been nipping the ball. He's nicking the ball from the opposition and driving through, like we saw against Arsenal yesterday. The defensive work, the defensive shift that he put yesterday, he has to start. For me, it's actually a no-brainer.
And he's taking players out of positions, Avi. Like he's creating space, because when, especially like a Southampton who maybe sit in, he's creating space even when he's maybe losing the ball, but he's taking teams out of position, and I think he's been great at that.
And he's back to picking that ball up and running with it, Grizz.
That's it, yeah.
And Henderson can't do that. Henderson, look, he's our captain, legend, but he can't do the things that Ox can do. And there's things that obviously Hendo does that Ox can't. But right now, as of now, against a Southampton team, a well sort of structured Southampton team, I would play Ox, Thiago, and Fabinho, and then Tsimikas over Robertson. But I'm sure Robertson will be back in that first team as well.
Selection with another super chat says Ox deserves to continue starting. Hendo keeps giving me nightmares. Why is he giving you nightmares, brother? I feel the midfield is shaky with him for the moment. He didn't look shaky last couple
Got
of.
assist last night as well.
I thought
Remember, guys?
I thought Henderson was poor against West Ham. And he's our captain, and you could say Fabinho didn't help, he then Ox, but I thought Henderson was poor. I didn't think Henderson was great against
But
Brighton.
why does Henderson always seem to get it twice as everyone else? When I feel like Henderson's had an average season, had some good games, but it seems like he's had a terrible season. But maybe I'm watching different games. But that seems to be the narrative, Avi. Like when you're reading it, and it's like, I don't know. Like Fabinho was horrendous against West Ham, but he doesn't seem to get it. But it's like, I don't know. Do you think there's maybe just a narrative where he's a captain, so they're just more harsh on Henderson?
I think there's always going to be obviously fans who are still, and I'm still surprised that I'm still not sold on Henderson after 11 years at the club, But for me, Henderson, look, he's been, but this season he's been chipping in with some goals. He's been chipping in with assists.
Man United assist, Brentford assist last night.
I just think, Conroy, while we've got Ox in this kind of form,
no, I agree, mate.
Dropping him, it will just disrupt that rhythm in him, and then you're expecting him to come on 70th minute, 75th minute, 80th minute to change games or do something, and the fans will get back on him. Fans have been back on Ox for a long time now. But while he's performed against Arsenal, against Porto, I think he should start. And against Atletico Madrid, I thought he was great. Yes, West Ham, barring he had a poor game, but 3 out of the last 4, he's been probably one of the top midfielders.
I think I possibly agree with Pratik here. He says Klopp will rest Ox for Southampton and play in Everton. Sorry, I disagree with Pratik here.
The other way around.
Yeah, other way around. Because I was thinking that, have we got Everton this midweek?
Yeah.
What?
Not next week. Next week. Am I right?
It's next weekend.
Next week?
Next weekend. Isn't it on the weekend of the 4th or the 5th?
Okay, if someone could, brilliant Liverpool channel here. We don't even know when the Merseyside derby is taking place. Absolute madness. You guys are really.
Abby's right. I think Abby's right. No, I thought it was night. But it's because we spoke about it, Grizz, a couple of days ago. That's what I thought. But no, it's the same as Wednesday. I thought it was Wednesday.
You casual fans, that's the problem, isn't it? But,
listen, as long as I watch the game and I don't get the day wrong, I'm happy.
It is a midweek game.
Grizz, we're right.
There you go.
It's a midweek game.
There you go. So
Grizz.
We're not as bad as selection with another super chat. He says, I feel Hendo is trying to do things that are not his strong suit, going up the pitch, sometimes higher than Salah. Nah, I rather Ox. Listen, it's all about opinions. That's the name of the game. I quick touch upon about sort of next Wednesday. It's Wednesday, basically. It's this Wednesday. I thought Ox was superb, guys. I genuinely thought Ox was superb against Porto. He has a tendency to be sort of, what's the word I'm looking for when you're sort of lackadaisical on the ball sometimes, not enough concentration on that final pass.
Yeah, lackadaisical, I think, covers that.
Yeah, just, but then, he's that kind of player where he's looking to make the difference every time. And I think Klopp has asked him to do that and be that, the difference maker in a set of midfield that where Thiago is a controller, Fabinho is a destroyer, Ox be the difference maker, where sometimes Naby is sometimes used as that role as well. Well, Naby's been used in a variety of roles, but recently I'd say Naby's been more used as a Thiago controller type. But Ox is asked to make positive runs into the box, as Avi says, with the ball, without the ball. But his without the ball work, I think, in my opinion, his without the ball work is deserving of another starting spot this weekend. And then possibly you can see the captain coming back, the skipper coming back for the Everton game. But as Evan says, we're really not bothered about the selection. We've got so much confidence and faith in this team that whoever we put out, we expect to sort of do the job on Saturday. Can we get some predictions, people?
Can I ask you a question before we go to predictions, please? I've got a question for you, Grizz. And question for the whole panel, who's Evan and Conroy. Hypothetically, if Ox stays fit and he continues to show this consistency of form, he's going to be 29 in August with a year to go on his contract. Do we renew or do we let him go on a free the following summer?
Do you want me to take that first, or do anyone else want to jump in? I'm happy with anyone else jumping in.
I'm just going to say no. Short version is no. So, I'm not giving him a new deal.
I'll give him to the end of the season and see where we're there, Avi. So we can judge at a bigger sample size.
I think it's risky. I think it's a tricky one for Liverpool. I think a couple of contract situations are tricky with Liverpool. And maybe we'll do another show on this where we can focus on the state of the contracts and certain players. But I think he's like Naby, Avi, 18 months left as well, I believe. Sadio Mane, 18 months, I believe. And none of these four have been offered any kind of deal as far as we know right now. It's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Naby pretty much in the same boat. What do? Positive start to the season, gets injured again. Oxlade, even though he's not been injured, negative start to the season in terms of performances, but absolute positive in the last 4 games. The most sensible thing to do is Conroy's right, is wait until the end of the season. But by then, the power is all in the player because he's got a year left, you see.
Could I just add, Grizz? I feel like Keita, right? You probably get you can still sell him on for you're not going to retrieve 60 million, but you might get 30, 40. Possibly we'll see. Maybe not. You know more, but maybe not. With Ox, I feel like we'll see at the end of the season. But see if he has a good campaign. You've got a squad player there that's probably can give you that depth the way we ran, especially. And if he can get himself in good form, it's going to be a lot cheaper than having to replace that player. If he can stay consistent for the season. But as Avi does mention, the consistency with Ox, he's in this rhythm, and it's like, I don't know, maybe because I'm sentimental when it comes to Ox, but I'm always rooting for the guy. I really am. And see if he did manage to continue on, it gives him a chance. It gives him a chance that they might consider it.
It is a tricky one. I know you posed the question, Avi, but have you got any sort of thoughts on what you think?
It's tricky. It is a tricky one, and I don't know myself. If he performs and he stays injury free and he chips in with goals, a few assists at the end of the season, there's a bit of a dilemma because we know Ox is a big fan of the player. You know, he's stuck by him through the injuries. We gave him a extension, a year extra because of the injury year that he was out for. So it's definitely a tough one. Same goes for Naby and Mane.
Selection with another super chat to move him on. Can't have too much players touching their 30s, which is absolutely a valid point as well. We have got a lot of players hitting 30. So if you had to keep one, Evan, Naby or Ox, taking into consideration everything, keep one. I'm here to ask the tough questions, buddy. I'm not here to ask the simple and easy questions. So you can.
It's just so tough because both of them represent little to no value in the transfer market. So it's not like, oh, well, I'm going to get 40 million for Naby Keita. You know, it just doesn't work that way. Definitely wouldn't work that way for Ox. Gosh, that is a tough question. I'm going to say Naby Keita just because when he's in full flow, he is a better player. Just in general.
Conroy?
This opinion's probably changed about 5 times in the last 3 months, to be honest, because Keita is like, it's not really, Ox is probably more his fault at times, Grizz, but like Keita just consistently seems to just gets injuries, something to disrupt the flow. Do you know what? I'll probably change this opinion in a month's time, but right now I'd say Ox, because even at Ox, he would probably settle for just being a depth midfielder if he can be reasonable for us and do that. I still say, I know people in the chat disagree, I still think you could probably get someone who'd take a chance in Keita for reasonable money. I don't think you're getting, not a lot of money, but at least some money. I don't think you're going to get more than maybe 10 mil for Ox, if that. And you're probably not because of the contract anyway. So I think right now I'll say Ox, but that could change.
Avi?
Keep Naby. Keep Naby at all costs. Love him.
At all costs.
I love Naby. I'm one of his biggest supporters. I'll always stick by him, even through the injuries. Keep him.
So
and he's 26.
But right now, if this was the lifeline season, Avi, would you not say Ox is actually showing what he can do and Naby's not?
Based on this season, I still say Naby. Naby's back in training this week, so he's been out for the last 2 games. So
yeah, he has had moments. You're right. I'm maybe being a bit too reactionary. It's a hard one.
But I'm a big fan of Ox. I just wish that we hadn't fully fit for when they signed. Like if we had a fully fit Ox for the last 3 years, all right, fair enough. You miss your 2-3 months you missed 2-3 months of football in the last 3 years. But when you're missing 2-3 months every season, it's frustrating. But imagine if they both were fit, we'd be different. We'd be unstoppable.
I said it at the start of last season, and we all were shocked and horrified with the kind of injuries we picked up and everything else. And I said at the start of last season that Ox and Naby could be our wild cards, wild X factors, totally different. Two fit players who bring different skill sets, but both so effective on their day. I'm absolutely. I share your frustrations and with the players. I'm absolutely. There's so many times where I've said, sell them. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit how good they are and what they've done. I can't be bothered with this sort of missing 30-40% of the season every season. And this season, they've shown glimpses of what I wanted to see the season before and the season before. So it does play on your heartstrings. Like when you see these guys perform, you think to yourself, oh, this is the Ox we know. Or when we see Naby against United, oh, this is the Naby we know and we waited for. But there's going to come to I think we're at that point now where we need to make some firm, hard decisions on these players' contracts. As Avi says, they're 18 months and running down. And I think it's going to be make or break for them, literally make or break for them this season. But let's see how it goes. Just to quickly end the show on sort of the circus that is Man United. It seems as though
you've got to do predictions, and then I put the question in. You forgot
predictions. Oh, sorry.
For the Southampton game.
It's okay.
Oh, go on. Has anyone done a prediction?
No, because then I asked a hypothetical question about Ox, so we can go.
Oh God, trust you to ruin my flow. That would not.
I done that last week, Avi. Don't worry, mate. I done that last week.
Pain in the arse, you guys.
You made me drive back 10 hours yesterday, so he deserves every bit of abuse and.
I bet Grizz late for 9.5 a day.
He's fucking lying back on the passenger seat all the way like that, fucking relaxing with a cheeseburger in his hand.
Evan, we start off with your prediction, pal.
4-0 the Liverpool on the weekend.
Jeez. Okay. Mr. Blue Chip.
What is it with Americans and 4-0? I'm the same. 4-0 or 3-0. I'm going to go with a 3-0 emphatic win. It'll be 3-0 for me.
Conroy?
I'm going to go for 2-0. Hopefully get that clean sheet as well. That would be quite nice. So 2-0 for me.
Okay, well, this brings us into sort of what Marshall's here saying. He's saying, honestly, Grid, I am a bit worried Ralf could turn it around at United. The circus that is known as Man United or Disneyland seem to have made a very clever, smart, shrewd appointment in Ralf Rangnick for this remainder of the season as a coach, and then a 2-year contract as a consultant, whatever they may mean.
Just another pretty word for director, isn't it? Really?
Possibly, yeah. Possibly, probably. Avi, what are you saying? What are you thinking?
It's probably the most smartest decision.
We only give honest opinions here, Mo. Hear us out. Go for it.
I think it's the most smartest decision they've made since Fergie's left. I think this has been they should have done this way sooner. Ralf Rangnick he's a bit of a genius. You know, he has a certain philosophy. He has intelligence, and it's not all about football with him. He's all about restructuring a certain brand, and we've seen him do that with Leipzig. We've seen him do this at Red Bull Salzburg. He's a bit of a tough negotiator too, as we found out when we were negotiating for Naby Keita and we couldn't get him a season early. So he will bring the stability first and foremost to this club that Manchester United so much needed. He will bring a wealth of experience that Woodward lacks in certain departments when it comes to transfers, when it comes down to, you know, future planning and what that obviously philosophy is. We thought this season prior to the Ronaldo signing that they're going with this youthful, you know, front three of Greenwood, Rashford and Sancho, and, you know, they had Bruno Fernandes floating around, and, you know, they brought Varane in. But obviously the Ronaldo signing, even though he's done well, you know, he's scoring goals for them, but it sort of disrupted their flow. Ralf Rangnick will clean out a lot of shit that's sort of been gutted in that club for the last sort of 7-8 years, and that could be appointments at board level, that could be appointments in training, and that could definitely be changes in terms of player recruitment in their squad. So I think he will need time, but I also believe if next summer he brings someone in, I think he will bring in a very young manager, someone who has to believe what Ralf Rangnick wants to do. And this 2-year consultancy role that they've seemingly agreed on, it's all about him putting his blueprint on this, like he has done with the Red Bull footballing brand, and going to that next level. I think it's unfortunately, I think it's a fantastic appointment on their side.
Conroy, your thoughts on the news that we got today or read today?
Yeah, I think it's. I do agree. I think Avi summed it up. To be honest, I think it's a good move. Eventually, that was going to happen, guys. Come on, there's a lot of averages come into it. There's only a certain amount of people involved in football. Eventually, they're going to pick the right horse. But the one thing you could maybe argue is I think they'll definitely improve a lot, and with the squad they've got, they still. If a manager can get that going, we were arguing even Rodgers last week could get that squad, we would play better football. So Ralf Rangnick definitely will. What I would say though is as well, that'll put them back in, we'll aim to get them back in that arena. But that arena's already got 3 top managers now, who I know, yes, a lot of people are saying he's their sensei, but they're also behind in that as well. So it's not going to be, I know they'll probably beat Chelsea now, but it's not going to be that instant everything. It's going to take a bit of time, but they've still got that squad. And now they've got the manager. So I agree. I think Avi summed most of it up there, but I feel like that's a very good signing. And I know Avi had mentioned it on a few previous shows as well. So I'll give him his flowers in that. He got that prediction spot on, Avi. So
once in a blue moon, eh? Once in a blue moon.
Well, you got 5-0 as well. 5-0 Watford, didn't you? So
the fat lady finally sang. The fat lady finally sang. So I'm happy that I get 1 right in a year. So move on to 2022 predictions.
I'm trying to sort of make sense of Avi's latest use of a cliche. So the fat lady finally sang.
You know how they say the fat lady sings.
What do they say? What do they say? No one help him, please. What does the saying say? How does it go? And where is it used? In which context is it used?
You know what? I just watched an episode of I think it was Coronation Street, and they say the fat.
It means when the game finishes, the fat lady sings. So when it's not over, it's not over till it's over.
It's over. So I'm talking about my prediction. So the fat lady that I am, the fat lady that I am, I finally sang. I finally got my flowers, like Conroy says. Okay, man, you lost.
It works. I think it works. It works.
How does it work, Conroy?
Because
in what sense?
Makes sense. It makes sense. It's like
it's not over till the fat lady sings.
Yeah.
Right. It is over right now. With that prediction that I made on Sunday about Ralf Rangnick, it is over right now. The fat lady will sing now.
You said she sang.
It's over for Man United. Man United's terrible disaster class is over.
But that's not what he meant, Conroy. You've made sense of it.
Conroy. Exactly what I meant. Well done, Conroy. Just repeat it to me again.
Conroy's made sense of it.
No, it means that.
I have a book of quotations, okay, all written up for me.
I know what I'm getting used for your Christmas, just like that word a day.
I'm still getting the American and the English sort of when I'm back home in England.
Evan's American, and he hasn't said one cliche or meme or anything out of tune or context.
He's there to look pretty. Ivan is there just to look pretty. There you go.
Come on,
man.
And some great opinions.
We're going to start calling him Ted now, though, because of that mustache.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. No, I'm calling you Ted from now on. So whether you like it or not, whether you come back on my show or not, you're Ted. Listen, Evan, your thoughts on this appointment? What do you think? Is he the Messiah, as everyone is making him out to be? Is there anything that United fans should still be concerned or worry about, or are you a fan?
I mean, they should always be concerned or worried because they've yet to get it right. It's been nearly 10 years. I don't know a whole lot about Rangnick other than his reputation is sort of being your favorite manager's favorite manager, so he's sort of like this Bielsa like figure. Guardiola said Bielsa inspired him, and Klopp and Tuchel would say the same thing about Rangnick. And in terms of him being their manager, that doesn't worry me because I know his reputation comes in is that he's perhaps a better administrator than he is a manager at a club. So he's a better sporting director or whatever position you want to put up there. So him getting that position as like in that consultancy role, wherever they put him in that 2 years prior, that's actually what worries me, because they might start being run by an actually like an actually serious football club should be run. So that's what's concerning for me. I'm not concerned about him as a manager, to be quite honest. His managerial CV is not particularly amazing, to say the least. But as an administrator, he's a fantastic person in football, and if he can sort of get that club pulling in the same direction once he's done with his interim managerial duties, that's when we should start being concerned. But for the next 6 months, I'm not particularly concerned.
I think I share your opinion actually. I share a lot of what you just said there, and people saying, sort of Marshall saying, Grizz Klopp said Ralf Rangnick is one of the best managers he's ever known. Can someone check that? I don't think he said that, did he, Avi? I think he said he's one of the most knowledgeable people in football, coaches of people in football that he knows. So in terms of what overall his knowledge about the game, how to sort of put in a structure and sort of the ethos.
Ethos, great word. Ethos and the foundations that he lays. And one thing is, he'll already have a list of players that he knows right now that are not fit enough to play for Manchester United. That's the biggest worry, that this guy, he's a bit of a ruthless bastard. He will tell you who is good and who's not. And if United have signed up for that, if they've agreed that terms that, listen, this consultancy role, this 6 month interim period that you're taking, and we back you, then you'll see a few changes in regards to big players as well. Like, listen, I don't think he will care whether United have paid 80 million for Maguire. If he deems him not good enough or quick enough for the press to be that, fast leading defenders, that he's so accustomed to in his system, at Leipzig and even at Salzburg and even at Schalke, then they'll get rid of players that.
Does that surprise you, Avi? Though, do you think maybe they would have went with a manager, still a good manager, but who could get the best out of the squad that they've paid 380 million for?
Look, is Maguire worth 80 million? No chance.
No, I know, mate, but it's just embarrassing that
it is embarrassing. But this is why I think their philosophy will change, Conroy. I think they will look at youth, analytical data, statistics. I think he's bringing in Lars Connecticut, who was with Pep at Bayern, who's supposed to be some pressing machine tactician. So he's coming.
Do you think it'll be quite a clear out, Avi? Do you think there'll be, obviously your Sanchos and that'll get kept, but it'll be
over time, whether 2 years is enough or whether they extend? I think 2 years is probably like, let's see how we do for the first 18 months, and then we'll extend. But listen, I think it's a great project for him to take as well. And look, they need to, unfortunately, they are one of the biggest clubs in the world, but on the field, they aren't, they're far from it. So, it's a big job, but I think it's a smart decision.
I think it's a smart decision if it's a long-term decision. And what I mean by that is, so he's been given obviously a short-term contract as a coach, as an interim coach. Well, it's not official, so let's just wait until it's absolutely official so we know what kind of role he has and it's explained. But from what we know and read today, it seems like it's an interim position until the end of the season, which, in my humble opinion, I think we all agree, nothing he can do will sort of suddenly rejuvenate this United team into a title challenging or anything. So top four is their best hope. What happens next is very crucial, in my opinion. I think if he's allowed to bring in his team and the people that he trusts and the people that he will no doubt want to work with, because he's the kind of man, from what I've read about him, who absolutely believes in his team, in his philosophy. Everybody has to be singing from that same hymn sheet. He's all about the team, all about working relationships with people that he knows and works around football. United haven't done that recently. So whatever coach has come in has been left with the old guard of Fletcher, Carrick, Phelan still there. Bloody hell, how many years has Phelan been there, right? I think you mentioned it, Conroy, there needs to be a clear out from the whole backroom staff and from the scouting system.
Paul Scholes said that, Grizz. He said, you're talking about everyone's having a go all day, quite rightly, but it was like, that's the same coaching staff who's preparing those players for the games when they were getting beat
Exactly.
5-0. You know, it's
Exactly.
strange.
So even though Ralf Rangnick is a very brave call by United, it's only the start. It's only one call. They've got to make a number of calls to make that call look good, if you know what I mean, guys. Like, it's not only the recruiting of Ralf Rangnick, they have to have the balls, basically, to clear out everything, to rip up that scouting system that's brought them Harry Maguire for 80 million and Fred for 50 million. And we can go on all night about their flops in the recent years, and overpaying for these stupid idiots. But it needs a whole brand new restructure. He's the man to do that, but he can't do it on his own. He's going to have to be backed by the Glazers fully and unequivocally. Let's see if they do that.
But did you think they would, though, Grizz, in the sense of, do you not think they would have went for a Rodgers or something like that, who's maybe would fall into the category as a yes man for that?
But this is it. This is why the decision to who they actually recruit in the summer is key.
You remember Conroy Rodgers when he took over? There was talk that Louis van Gaal was coming in as a director, but Rodgers said no. He wants total control over transfers and players.
Yes,
that's why I don't think Rodgers will be a contender. I think they're looking at a very younger manager. Ten Hag is probably one of the favorites.
Point, yeah, Ten Hag. Fair point.
You know, there's a manager. I don't think he will, but at Salzburg, Jasley, who's a really young manager at 34. But I think they're going to look at a young manager who believes into the ideologies and the ethos that
Ten Hag would be a good shout.
I still think it's going to be Pochettino, lads.
I think so. They're the two favourites because I think Ten Hag and Poch, since that was rumoured earlier, I think they're the two favourites.
Ten Hag would make more sense from the angle of young coach, as Avi says, and would be. We don't know what he's like. What's Ten Hag like, though, working with a sporting director? Who's the Ajax sporting director? Is it Overmars?
Mark Overmars, yeah.
Mark Overmars?
Yeah.
So we don't know how he would be receptive to working under an absolute taskmaster in Ralf Rangnick. But it's interesting. I'm absolutely nothing to worry about from a Liverpool fan point of view. It's just good to talk about them. You know, many United fans will say, oh, we're triggered. We're actually talking about United. Well, no, it's a football channel. It's a relevant topic. And that's why we're talking about you. It's not triggered or rattled or scared or anything. But it's a good decision. We actually genuinely believe that it's a decent first decision. There's many more that they need to make before they're absolutely anywhere near the level that their fans expect them to. But long may the circus last. Anything else, guys, we want to touch upon that I've forgotten about that you guys want to talk about?
I don't know what to talk about it. I forgot time. It was just to mention there's a bit about Klopp's comments. Was it yesterday or it was last night about the African Cup of Nations? But as I say, I think it's been covered in quite a bit in depth today in social media, Grizz. So
it's a bit embarrassing to even talk about people who actually took that out of context. Like, if you know what I mean, I thought it was just embarrassing for the journalist involved. Like, to double down on it was even worse, right? I don't know if you're familiar with what happened, Evan.
Yeah. I just think it's a non-issue for me. I saw it on the timeline. I read into it about 60 seconds. Immediately knew it was not worth reading about again. It's a nothing story. It's nothing to even talk about.
Yeah, no, pretty much. If people don't know, people like Avi, casual fans, if people don't know what actually happened was, sort of a few days ago, Klopp was asked in the press conference, or was told that you should be happy. There's no more international breaks until March or something, February or something, and he's like, "Oh no, there's still a small matter of the African Cup of Nations." And then someone else said, "And South America are planning international." He said, "Oh, and South America," and then an African journalist, actually turned that into Klopp saying African Nations is a small tournament, Avi, basically. That's how he turned it into. How dare you say that African Nations is a small tournament and you belittling us? So that's what we were talking about. And then basically after the post-match of a Champions League game, he was put on the spot by that journalist So Klopp's turned up into a press conference wanting to talk about Tyler Morton and Thiago and qualification and whatnot. And then the guy turns around and says, Jurgen, you said something about African nations. Do you regret that? Or something along those lines. Would you like to apologize or correct yourself? And he's like, whoa. Hold your horses. Like, I didn't mean that at all. And you got to remember, Klopp's native language isn't English. He's done brilliantly, but he still makes a few linguistic errors like you do, for example.
Yeah.
And
Fat lady sang.
Yeah, fat lady sang, like what the fuck did that mean even today in the context of what you were saying? But it, so Klopp, didn't even mean that, and he tried to explain it. Some people have an issue with how Klopp was still slightly aggressive when knowing that some people could have taken that out of context, so he could have been more subtle. Conrad, do you get that aspect?
Yeah, I do, but to me, if you listen to it, it's like it's
Brilliant comment.
it's a sarcastic or ironic.
Give that journalist some CBD.
It's a phrase like to be honest, it's a phrase like Klopp's biggest thing is his players having to go to tournaments like that in the winter break, and in between that the worry of injuries. So it's like he's just emphasising there's another international break, so he's just emphasising this little tournament, African Cup of Nations. I thought that was clear. It doesn't have to be this big. For me, I agree. It's quite clear what he was meaning, and I think he's trying to highlight how good his players were last night, and I think he just got a bit caught off guard by that, because that's not what he meant. And yeah, for me, it's clearly not the context of the situation. So that's all I've got to say in it, and I feel like that's been established now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we're getting a variety really. Sorry, go on, Navi.
No, I just said it's literally something out of nothing. Like, if we think that this is going to pose an issue, imagine when the World Cup in Qatar in December starts. How fuming will Klopp be then? It's just little translation issue. Klopp says something and then the journalist blows up. It's just to get a reaction out of him. I think if was the journalist's name published or anything? Did he get more followers? Yeah. Did his Instagram following? Yeah, of course. I think that's what it is. Something out of nothing story.
Someone said someone's asked for a lineup from me, lineup prediction. No, you're not getting that for free. I don't charge enough, man. You know what I mean? These lineups correct every time. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Just follow Grizz on Twitter. You need to follow him on Twitter.
I need to start charging. I need to start charging for that kind of stuff, man. Let's get real. As Kevin says, it was probably just for clicks. But obviously, it's always, it can be unnerving from a coach's point of view. Like someone said earlier, like, it could be construed as someone suggesting Klopp's racist or in any way, shape or form, which is absolute bollocks. But listen, lads, it's been a wonderful show. It's time to wrap it up. We need to get some. I'm actually traveling to the game. I need to get some sleep. I didn't sleep much last night. We stopped off on the way back about 5 times. This was when
it's a good thing we didn't go to the M6. People were stuck there for hours. Got home at 7 a.m. Yeah, it's a good thing that we went to that toll Wallasey.
Really?
We ended up in North Wales at one point, Conroy. North Wales, Chester, I don't know where we were going, but it was good that we went the back routes. Yeah, 100%.
Is that what people were saying, that the M6 was chock-a-block?
M6 was chock-a-block, yeah.
Oh, amazing! So we made a good call, because we got home about 3:30, something like that.
You were sleeping. I made the call. So yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. So there's a difference between, I thought me, we're one, but okay, it's I about eyes in these days. Okay, all right, no problem. But listen, thank you, Evan, for joining us again. It's been a pleasure as always, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You're gonna. What's your plans for the rest of the day? Thanksgiving and all that, man. Talk to us.
Yeah, so I have like half my family is here with me in California, and the other half is up in Washington, and that was just the plan this year. So yeah, I can already smell the food being made. So
so can I, brother. So can I. I'm sitting thousands of miles away, but I can just. Oh man.
Yeah,
You're gonna have a great time. We're just going to our beds, and you're about to have a great time.
Yeah.
Enjoy, mate. Enjoy.
Absolutely. Avi, anything to say before
No, all good. A little rest day tomorrow. Who knows? I might still make it to the Southampton game, depending on how I feel tomorrow morning. And post-match reaction, I think we'll do that on Sunday. Is it? Wait for you to come back.
Yeah, I'm off to the game and I'm going to be back Sunday by the time. Well, I'll be back, yeah, Sunday. So we'll see how it goes. We'll set up a post match reaction, hopefully a positive one. Conroy?
No, just everyone, just obviously smash the like and subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, just top show, guys, and hopefully we can get the win. Nice, easy, nice clean sheet as well. Hopefully get a clean sheet as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, guys. It's been the post match and to Porto and the pre match to Southampton and Ralf Rangnick talk all rolled into one. You don't get this kind of content on every channel, man. Come on. So like before you go, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll all see you all again very soon. Peace out, people.